Hello, hello. Today is July 23rd, 2024. This is SIG Node weekly meeting, and today is a code freeze. So we only have a couple items, and people are busy with reviews and PRs. So let's get started with the first topic with Francesca.
Hello everyone. So I got asked by Sonemali, which should be in this meeting, to add this item because she doesn't have edit access to the document just yet. So I was pinged in Slack earlier, and this is about reviving this CPU manager hold enhancement, which started but then fizzled out. So I think Sonemali, you can talk it through, right?
Yeah. Do you want to, I don't know, do we want to show the design doc? Or just kind of talk through or bring up the PR?
We can share probably. It's linked in the agenda.
Okay.
Sergey, could you give me either me or Tsunemari co-host, please? So we can share.
Yeah, looking for a button. Francesca, you're a host and Sonemali.
Okay, so you Tsunemari, feel free to share if you want.
Yeah, you
Otherwise, I
both
will.
are.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Zoom. Let me bring up sharing. Share that window. Okay. This is the PR, the cap that was revived, that was reopened. So, yeah, see the link to the design doc. Let me bring that up. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is a revision of the original design doc for this cap. So I did keep the title the same. We did make some revisions, right? So the summary and the motivation is pretty much the same or similar to the original cap that were proposed in 2021. What I did was, in the motivation, we just added, some of our additional testing and use cases, but this is, similar, right? They're the same. The purpose of the motivation here is that, on some workload we've seen, because kubelet does not understand or is not aware of L3 topology, you end up creating like a noisy neighbor in like a split L3 topology architecture. And then when we do the alignment or force the alignment, we do see quite a bit of uplift. And so what you're seeing here, right, is an example of that. So in the original design doc, they looked at stream 2 as the workload. And on the left-hand side, we were using different workload to validate. We're using like TPCC and MySQL. And so you can see like the uplift that you get, it's double digits, right? And this is workload specific. Obviously, if you have another workload that is possibly more memory latency intensive, you could see more. So that it's quite a motivating factor for us, right? So I've listed our goals here. What we want to do, high level wise, we want to reintroduce this feature enhancement, not as a feature gate, but actually as a static CPU policy option, right? To better fine tune. And I think this is a better way to minimize the impact to the current behavior of kubelet, so that it doesn't affect non-static policy or existing static policy options, right? That like, you know, S&T alignment. In our proposal, right, we're leveraging the work that's already done, that's already merged into C Advisor. You can see the 2PR that's there that already supports grabbing, you know, Encore Cache ID. And like I said, we're going to handle it as a policy option, and then we'll end up modifying the take by policy call in the static policy file, right? Some risks and mitigations. We think that, you know, by enabling this as a static policy option, you know, we're not going to change any of the behavior that doesn't use a static policy, and then we'll continue to preserve the existing behavior of the static option. I don't think I'll get into the design detail here. I would love to have the community look through this, right, and review it, or provide your feedback. But we did add a little bit more details in how we're planning to implement this feature, right? And the files are where we're going to touch, right? Where in the code base we're going to touch. Main thing, the other thing I want to point out is the test plan. This is our hardware test matrix that we plan to implement, right? Obviously, we'll do the unit testing and integration testing, but in addition to that, this is the end-to-end testing that, and we will cover all these hardware matrix as well. And just a little bit further in the test plan, you'll see, like, for this particular, right, for each of the different hardware platform or configuration, these are the type of tests that we're planning to deploy, right? The CPU assignment, the pods, or actually the pod size that we're planning to deploy, and then the CPU sets is, you know, what we expect, how the new assignment will be, how the containers or pod will be assigned. So, any questions? I think that's pretty much it with this design docs.
Hey, thank you.
Okay.
From my perspective, I see no blockers. I mean, should be something we can do. I mean, nothing stands out as a, obvious problem. So, Sergey, don't any concerns or comment?
I from this, I need to refresh my memory, but from what you just shared, I don't see obviously blocker for us to continue, but I need to revise the design doc, but that's been a while. I was
And I've also in the chat, I added the link to the design doc and also the PR, so you can follow through all of that. So,
is there any relation to topology manager in general beyond just CPUs being the same L3 cache? I just don't know hardware enough to know if memory is also an issue, or anything else of that matter, like that needs to be scheduled together.
no, we're planning only to just touch the CPU assignment, nothing related to memory, right? The current flow is you take by socket, and then you take by NUMA, And then I guess there's hints provided and it totally ignores L3, but what in the static policy option, we're planning to, right, go follow that same flow, take by socket, take by NUMA, and then consider take by L3, which will be implemented as an interface, a new interface in the, I think it's the CPU allocator, right? And so this new interface should only get called if the user decides they want to use this option. That's in the design, the detailed design section of the document.
I will review again. I have a deeper detail. At glance, I don't think there is an impact on topology manager, but I will comment on the design doc.
Can you open the comment permission to us? Because I found we only have the view. Like even morning I open and I found I cannot comment. So that's in the design doc. Thanks.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, it would be really nice to get a review from Sasha as well, because he clearly knows more about hardware than myself.
That's the one. I was gonna put a comment on there. I saw your hardware testing. Are you saying that it's gonna be manual, or are you hoping to get end-to-end tests in Kubernetes for all the different types of CPU alignment?
Well, when we say end-to-end, what we're planning on actually just deploying it as a cluster, right? Deploying it as a node. Is that what you mean?
When the feature, you'll have like end-to-end tests in Kubernetes, and then we run on GCP. So what I was just curious if you are trying to, you want those nodes on, like, to run on, or is this like
on-prem? It's on-prem only. We were just going to do on-prem tests only.
Yeah, it just might be nice to, I mean, I guess it's probably, if you're probably running them on the cloud somewhere, you can probably get them enabled, but it might be something to, because I see you have quite a bit of hardware test requirements, and I wasn't sure if these are like ones you want for the feature or for your testing. Like, I don't even know for ARM how much we have support for ARM in the Kubernetes project.
Yeah, no, that it's more, right? Having an ARM hardware in there is more so to validate that the enabling this feature works for all hardware platform. It's not breaking anything. It's not changing any of behavior on a system that doesn't have the L3 cache support. So that was our intention with that.
I think that it was a comment on the old CAP or discussion somewhere about let's make sure we don't break ARM indeed, which is more and more important in the cloud. So yeah, that's a good idea to make sure it's not broken.
And I mean, I think there are some examples of the NUMA, like we have nodes where with NUMA set up for our end-to-end tests. So when you're implementing the feature, you can probably look into that as a way to at least get a handful of tests. Just want to make sure we have coverage of this feature in our end-to-end test suite. We don't have to have all of the hardware test cases, but at least one or two of them, making sure we have this feature tested.
Okay, I think we covered that, and we know the next steps. Next topic is from Sanat. Sanat, are you on the call? Yeah.
Yes. Hi. Yes, I'm on the call. I'd like to just get the maintainer's attention on the one PR. It's not setting the CPU quota on the guaranteed pods. This has been a long work. So I'm not the PR author actually, but yeah, I'm talking behalf of him. There was like quite a lot of reviews. Thank you very much, and Francesco and the GitHub handle is Hair Commander also reviewed it quite nicely, but at some point it stopped. So I'd like to have get more reviews if or feedback on the code. So yeah, and that was my idea. So this work is initially started by other person, but the PR got abandoned. So it has been long going, like around 2 years. So it would be nice have like to get the detailed reviews. And thank you very much for the reviews who have reviewed it. Yes, that would be all.
Thank you, the Senate. Francisco, do you want to share some of the I think this is always have like the challenge. We need to take consume this kind of things and the first things, right? So I just want to share a little bit context. It's just because CPU quota definitely have a lot of advantage, right? So a limited of those ensure you have that during the certain period of time and you can access the CPU, right? So, but at the same time also limited you how to use it. So a lot of people, in the past, a lot of people feel like when we set the CPU quota, then actually to some extent because the Linux kernel problem a while back, and actually punish those guaranteed jobs. This is originally what we want and guarantee. But the problem is the data show we punish those people, right? So like I mean not people, punish of those pods run as the guarantee tier, right? So this is why we can like not default set. But on the other hand, actually the quota set CPU quota actually, especially for the overall quality of the services, if we behave well among of the guarantee and burstable and best effort, we could hugely reduce about the noisy neighborhood issues. So this is kind of more like a balance how you guarantee the performance versus about the resource allocation. So that's kind of a complexity. It's a little bit harder for open source to make the one size fit all decision. Instead, we a little bit try to say, okay, let's get clear of the API and have the log. Need to people based on that production to decide it, right? So decided in addition about the CPU share, how you want to set off the quota. This is kind of the philosophy behind the thing we have think. But again, and the SIG Node v2 actually have a lot of enhancement. I don't think, and even like after years, they are mature more and more. So we need to revisit a lot of those kind of things, especially noisy neighborhood probably is kind of all those kind of things. So that's why kind of we need a holistic review to review those kind of things, requests of our implementation for the quality of the services based on the SIG Node v2. Yeah. Thanks for bringing this up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your feedback as well. Thank you.
Okay, next topic is from Peter. I think you're double muted. We cannot hear you. At least I cannot. No, we cannot hear him.
I'll just talk to my phone. How about now? Cool. So yes, so I wanted to quickly talk about this this issue that I posted. So, or this PR. When we enable the proc mount type PEP, we set it to well, we set it to beta, and we set it to enabled true by default because that's usually what we do for CAP. It turns out we did not do that for user namespaces support. That it's off by default, even though it's beta. And because of that, we broke Windows EDE test with one of the proc mount tests that we set up. So one of the things in the process of fixing that Windows EDE test that came up is we probably should have the proc mount type cap be in line with user namespaces because it relies on user namespaces. You can't create a proc mount type en masse without a user namespace. So I opened this PR just to set it to false by default. And I wanted to bring up and see if anyone instead wanted to enable user namespaces by default. I'm open either way. I just wanted to bring it up and see if we could get some consensus.
Yeah, at this stage of release, since we didn't talk about user namespace enablement, let's just disable proc mount type. I think I approved it already.
Perfect. Yes, I see that now. Okay, cool. So that's it then. Thank you.
Thank you for catching it and thank you for investigating the Windows challenge.
Can I ask just a silly question? So there is some interdependency between those two feature gates?
Not the gates, but the feature themselves. Basically, the proc mount type was without a user namespace, setting a proc mount type to unmask basically is like setting another privilege, like it's another toggle to create a privileged container because of all of the things that you can do with an unmasked proc. If you're not confined by user namespace, or if you're like, if you're root in the root user namespace and you have access to an unmasked proc, then you can mess with the host in a couple of ways. So in 130, we basically set it so that a proc mount type, to set proc mount to unmask, you have to also be in a user namespace. So the features themselves are not technically reliant on each other, but like the field and the pod spec are in kubelet validation.
Okay, I see. Thank you for elaborating.
Really? Anything else?
Thank you. And again, we will have more test failures in upcoming days because of many PRs who emerged. Thank you, Peter, for investigating that. And if you have spare cycles, please watch out for what's happening and help if you can. With that, we reach the end of our agenda. Is there anything else? Okay, then. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.